Look at that framing. Wow. How's it going, guys? I'm Josh, and today we're going to do two things. First, I'm going to talk to you about 10 fun things to do going to NYU living in the city. And second, I have a skate session for you. And if you hate the sound of my voice, you hate having fun, and you hate New York City, and you want to skip to the skating, skip to this point in the video. Anyway, let's get into it. So here's the thing about going to a school like NYU. It's in a huge city, which means so much potential, which is amazing, but also kind of hard because it's not easy to find all this great stuff. But if you're not having a great time on any given night, it's your own fault because great things are constantly happening around you, just a matter of finding them. So one really fun, easy thing to do in New York is going to bars or clubs and going dancing, but unless you're 21 or have an ID that says you are, this can prove to be a bit of a challenge. So all these tips are going to be age appropriate for those of you who don't have an ID. So the main difference between NYU and like a state school is the fact that at a state school, there's more consistent fun, which is good for some people. You're probably going to go to a frat party on any given weekend, and that's awesome. We don't have frat parties. There's no consistent, easy party or community place for all students to gather, which is great for some people, terrible for others. If this is your school, then it's really your school, I found. Like, I love the fact that we don't have that, and that instead you have to come up with cooler, more fun things to do, creative stuff too. So anyway, we're gonna jump into 10 of my favorite things to do in New York City for fun. As an NYU student, that was a really long title. I should add, we do have frats, they're just not super popular and not everyone's involved with them. Anyway, number 10 is actually gonna be a website, which sounds really strange, but the website is called theskint.com. They have a daily mailing list with all of the fun, random activities happening in New York City on any given day. And what's crazy about New York is that there aren't always like consistent activities. There can be like random things. Like every year there is a square dance in Herald Square, and it's amazing. They give you free cowboy hats and teach you how to square dance. That was awesome, and I found it on the Skint. I've also done a lot of other really crazy, weird stuff. Like I went to a Mars virtual reality exhibit last week. I went to a Brooklyn graffiti party the other day. I went to a Michael Jackson themed puppet show last year, some burlesque puppet show, which was also very strange and amazing. Great things are happening on theskint.com. Go follow their mailing list and you'll thank me later. The issue with the Skint, and also my greater issue with the city altogether, is it's sometimes hard to find consistent fun, because on the Skint you have to search for this stuff every single night, and every once in a while you do find these amazing gems, but they're not consistent. It's a total one-time thing. So the rest of this list is going to be consistent stuff you can do on any given night. So number 9 is karaoke. There are a lot of great karaoke bars, and karaoke in New York, usually you have individual rooms, so just you and your friends can have your own room and you're not singing with strangers, which is cool. So on St. Mark's there's a bunch of cool, reasonably priced karaoke. It's usually about $20 a person. So if you get a group of like 5 or 10 people, it's going to be a blast. Highly recommend it. Number 8, and this might sound kind of sketchy because it is, but it's also still fantastic, and that is Chinatown massages. So what's great about these massage parlors is, one, they're very cheap. You can get one a half-hour full body massage for I think $25. Number 2 is they're always open. They're open until midnight, I think, on most nights, which is sick. And number 3, it's just a nice random activity that you can do at any given time. Super relaxing. I know it sounds sketchy, and that's because it kind of is, but it's like a comfortable amount of sketchy. It's the amount of sketch you want when you're going to a Chinatown massage parlor. Number 7 is art, and I could dedicate an entire video to this one, but there's so many incredible art galleries in New York City, and a lot of them are free, or they're free with an NYU ID, so you are hooked up either way. And just to list a couple of my favorites, the MoMA's really sick. Whitney has really cool stuff always. There's also Dream House, which is a really tiny gallery in Tribeca, and it's basically this meditation chamber with this throbbing, hypnotic sound just pulsing throughout, and it's all pink. Here's a picture of it. Super sick. There's so many fantastic galleries. You can also go gallery hopping in Chelsea, where there's just like 1 or 2 streets full of a bunch of independent galleries, and they're all pretty small, so you can go in and hit like 10 or 15 of them in the same day and just make a whole day out of it. There's also amazing food out in Chelsea, so you can just gallery hop, hit some restaurants. It's a really good time. Great way to spend an entire day, and also a really good date idea if you're looking to impress someone, make them think you're cultured. Always a good move. Another 2 great ones, there's the Museum of Moving Image out in Queens, and it's all about movie paraphernalia, which is super cool. I think my all-time favorite museum in New York is the Natural History Museum. I could spend my entire life in there. I also went to the smallest museum in New York City the other day. It's in this abandoned elevator shaft, and it's incredible. So I'll put links to all this stuff. Great free way to spend your time, especially when it gets cold and snowy out. Number 6, great way to spend a night is go see some live jazz, because there's a bunch of jazz bars in New York. Now, a lot of them are 21 plus, so it's important to call ahead if you don't have an ID. A couple ones that I know that aren't 21 plus, there's Smalls in the West Village, and that's $20 entry fees. I've seen some amazing sets there. I was actually there last night. It's fantastic. It's in this little cute basement. It's pretty much everything you'd want out of a jazz experience. There's also Fat Cat a few blocks over, and I think some nights, like Friday and Saturday, it's 21 plus, but most other nights, it's $2 or $3 cover, and there's live jazz every single night, ping pong, pool, board games. It's such a great scene. I love that place. Number 5, as it's getting colder and you don't want to go out, one really fun thing you can do is decorate your dorm. And I know that sounds stupid to some people, but I had a blast doing it these past 3 years. So a couple things I'll do to make it really fun. Last year I found a huge plywood piece of wood from the art studio that I took home. It was 4 by 8, I believe, and we just Sharpied the heck out of it. Made it this entire project. Everyone that came over had to draw something on it, and it became pretty beautiful by the end of the year, and we turned it into a table. There's also blockposters.com, which lets you put in an image and then blow it up so it can be printed on a bunch of 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. So if you want to have a huge exhibit just based on some stupid iPhone photo you took, you can definitely do that with this website. Another super fun way to decorate your dorm is finding art on Craigslist. If you put in art New York City and under $20, you'll find some really incredible, amazing stuff that people just didn't want anymore. Super fun. You'll get some really eclectic, weird stuff. Maybe bring a friend if you're going to pick up art from someone and meet them in public, because Craigslist can be sketchy, but the art's worth it, unless you get murdered. Number 4 is go spend some time in the parks, because as much as you love New York and it's great being in the city, you will get burnt out, because being in the city, walking around, you're not really outside. So it's nice just to escape this weird pseudo outside and instead be in some greenery for a change. So I love to go to Central Park from time to time, and you can spend weeks exploring Central Park. There's really some amazing stuff. You just go deep and go to the Ramble. I'll actually put a link down below to one of the best maps for cool spots in Central Park, because there's some really sick stuff. There are waterfalls. It's amazing out there. You can also go to Prospect Park, where you can rent tandem bikes. That's a fun date idea. There's also Coney Island, an amusement park, ride a roller coaster in the city. That's pretty cool. And it's a beach. Neat scene over there. Definitely worth checking out. There's also the Botanical Gardens in Brooklyn that's right across from Prospect Park. So if you want to make a mega day, definitely combine those two things. This next one might be controversial for a list of fun things to do in New York City, but number 3 is leaving New York City, because nothing makes you love New York more than sometimes just getting out of it for a day. So there are a bunch of really amazing hikes you can do right off of the Metro North, which leaves from Grand Central Station, or there are also hikes from Port Authority, and you take a bus, and there are hikes that are just dropping you off right at the trailhead, or like a quarter-mile walk. So without a car, you can do some really incredible hikes in the mountains in upstate New York, and especially during fall, it's gorgeous right now. And I'll put a link down below to all these hikes you can do without a car. Definitely make it happen, because I think for your mental health, it's important to be surrounded by trees from time to time, and not just trees in the city where you can hear honking and see the skyline. That's not the same. It's really important just to escape and be alone or alone with friends. Have a little bit of time to relax, because that's so important. And then when you get back to the city, it makes you appreciate it even more. So highly recommend escaping. I try and do it at least once every other weekend or every 3 weeks. Hiking is so important. Number 2, go see a comedy show. There's an amazing comedy scene in New York. If you know where to go. Now, a lot of these places are 21 plus, so it's important to call ahead or look on their website, but a couple places that aren't, that are all ages, there's UCB, the Upright Citizens Brigade, and I have never seen a bad show at UCB Chelsea. There's also one in the East Village that I have seen many bad shows at, so I highly recommend going to the one in Chelsea, and you usually have to buy tickets in advance, so definitely go to their website, but they have some really awesome shows, and everything is $5 usually for entry. Super cheap, totally worthwhile. If you're not strategic about it, there are some comedy places that will charge $40 for tickets or $20. But there's also places to find free comedy. My friend was telling me about a place called the Grizzly. All this cheap comedy on McDougal Street in the East Village. There's the People's Improv Theater on 24th Street, I believe, that has $1 shows for students. Sometimes with these cheap random comedy shows, you might be laughing at them and not with them, but that's okay because you're still entertained. And number 1, this is another one that I can make an entire video about if I wanted to, is eating. Eating is so important in New York because you can just dedicate your life to eating in New York and you'll never go to all the restaurants. So what I recommend you do is pick some destination restaurants you want to go to and make a day of it. For example, you can go to the Little Italy in the Bronx, which is the original Little Italy, unlike the one in Soho, and make a day, go to the Italian restaurants, go to the Bronx Zoo, super fun, get a fresh cannoli, amazing stuff. There's also really cool restaurants in Queens. We went to an Uzbeki restaurant in Queens the other day, and that was sick. Take a far out bakery that looks really good, like Levain on the Upper West Side, and go trek out there. Spend the rest of the day in Central Park. It's a really great way just to set a destination point and to make an entire day out of it and just have a blast. And it's just something to do. Really sick operation. There's also constantly food trends you need to take part of in New York, like the Rainbow Bagel, the Mega Milkshake at Black Tap. So if you want to find out about these cool food trends and get restaurant ideas, I highly recommend following some food Instagrams like New Fork City. Food Baby is amazing, and yeah, this will remind you of how delicious food is out there and give you plenty of ideas on restaurants to go to, because I steal ideas from these Instagrams all the time. And you can also do cooking, because a lot of NYU dorms have kitchens. You probably know if you have a kitchen or not. Go make some food with your friends, make a banana bread, whatever you want. Now I have two things to offer you as a thank you for sticking it out with me. First, I've been making a food map of all of my favorite restaurants in New York for the past 2 years, and here, let me just show you really quick. Lots and lots and lots of great restaurants on here with little descriptions for all of them. Red is regular restaurants, green is vegan vegetarian, black is bakery, and blue is still need to try. So definitely check it out. I have descriptions for all of these restaurants. Got great BYOB restaurants, which are sick if you want to have a glass of wine and you don't have an ID. They don't card because you can bring it. There's also really great bakeries, really great everything. It's especially good for if you're in an area and you just want a good restaurant nearby, you don't know what's good. Check out the food map and it'll probably have a couple recommendations for you. Really proud of this one, and I almost feel like I'm sharing my baby with you because it's so personally attached to my restaurants. I also have a recipe book that I just made the other day to share with a friend. It's all of my favorite recipes that I've created, that I've stolen from the internet, with links to all that stuff. So if you want to know stuff that I like to make, I'll have that, and I'll be constantly working on this and improving it as I make new recipes. So links to all this stuff down below. Now I have one condition. I want you to steal these ideas and do all this stuff for yourself. I really do. But the condition is you have to tell me what you did and how it went, because I want to know if I'm hooking you up with some good recommendations or if I screwed you over and made you have a terrible day. Either way, leave a comment down below letting me know what stuff you did, what stuff you plan to do, because I'd like to know what you're interested in. And I have plenty of more ideas. When I was making this list, I actually came up with another 20 things that I want to do. So if you like this and you want to hear more, let me know down below and maybe I'll make another one of these videos. I probably should, because I have so many suggestions. There's so much to do in New York. There really is. Anyway, now for this skate session. I landed a switch tray. I skated with my friends Josh and Mitch. Enjoy. Hope you enjoyed this skate session. Be sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what stuff you do, what stuff you want to do, and if you want to see another one of these videos, because any sort of positive encouragement is awesome. And I love reading comments, and I love knowing that I'm helping you guys have fun. That's super, super sick. Anyway, if you want to see another one of my videos, I talk about skateboarding in college and how to balance them, so probably somewhere over here. I also have a Spotify playlist full of my favorite indie rock music. I have a website full of all my best photos, an Instagram, a Snapchat, a Facebook, all of that beautiful social media related garbage. Links to that down below. Definitely check out whatever you're interested in. I feel like I've said links down below like 30 times so far. But anyway, that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you eventually, unless you choose not to subscribe, in which case I'll never see you again. Angrily putting the lens cap on.